Last episode, we got ourselves a very talented transfer class that put our overall recruiting class at 17th in the country. It happened on stream, and if you missed it, I would recommend watching that stream. It's a pretty short one there, but of course headlined by Isaiah Bond, who decided to come to Vanderbilt for his senior season, replacing Micah Bell, who did decide to leave via the transfer portal. But transfers like Bond, like Robinson, like Jeremiah Smith, like Xavier Hill, and like Ellis Robinson are guys that I hope can push Vanderbilt to a better season here. We're up to an 85 overall already. I feel like 85 overall is something given to just a lot of schools, so I don't know how good that actually is. Still just a 2.5-star program. But despite being the 17th ranked recruiting class, that was only average here in our conference. So I think if we want to push towards having some of the best classes in the conference, we need to unlock getting the ability to recruit 5-star players towards our team. And to do that, we need to win a bowl game. I think this talented transfer portal could push us towards that. We have a senior quarterback. I've decided that I'm going to let him play. I just think this is the year that I want to win the bowl game. And just from what I've seen so far in this game, when you start a more inexperienced quarterback like Lou Brady would be here as a true freshman, they just tend to end up hurting your chances at winning. They talked about this in the lead up to the game, that freshmen will not feel as good as seniors oftentimes, and I feel like that has been the case so far. I was hoping that Nate Johnson could have developed a little bit better as a passer here, but I think with better weapons and a little bit better of an offensive line than he had last year, hopefully that combination with the custom playbook that I have started to build out, still not finalized, but it should help us, I think, have a better offense this year. Really want to win that bowl game to unlock those 5-star recruits. And while Isaiah Bond might have been the highest overall recruit we got from the transfer portal, I think the one I'm the most excited about is Jeremiah Smith as a true sophomore with star development trait. He is just so good. Really good speed, really good size. He can run routes pretty well. He can catch. He's got pretty much everything. He can even do a lot after the catch. And so I'm hoping that this guy can prove to be a beast for us for the next 3 seasons. Super excited to get him out of the portal and happy to see what he can do. Somebody that I highlighted as, I think, being the best freshman receiver in the game with the base rosters. I can't believe we got him. And likewise, another guy I shouted out in that video, Ellis Robinson IV, comes in and is instantly our CB1. I think these two players on our team for likely the next 3 seasons could be the foundation on either side of the ball that hopefully leads to a better football program and the start of our Vanderbilt rebuild. That in combination with some of the awesome freshmen that we got, Lou Brady, already talked about him, but I'm really excited for the future of guys like Raphael Hakeem here, 76 overall, 6'3", 96 speed. Really excited about offensive lineman Eli Flynn also coming in at a 76, really talented D-end. Trevonte Baldridge at a 75, Roger McCreary at a 73. We got Hajulehu at a 70. We got Robert Drugsma at a 76. And then Zadalis at a 75. We got a lot of those mid-70s players that I think have a chance to be really good by the time they are upperclassmen. I think we did about as much as we could have in our first recruiting cycle to kick off what should be an exciting rebuild, but we got a lot more work to do. We got to start winning some games in the SEC. We went 6-6 last year, but just 2-6 in the conference. I'd like to get more conference wins this season. And of course, we kick off the season with our preseason recruiting Really tried to focus on just the positions that were either positions of need, which you see here, or positions where I feel like we didn't get a stud last year. Didn't want to try to go after all the positions. I feel like there's just not enough time. As you can see, we still technically have 5 hours, but I'm not just going to blindly offer a contract at this point, so we'll probably just leave those 5 hours to waste. But we got 4 quarterbacks on the board here. Camille Cushenberry is much more athlete. Doesn't have quite the same arm as Lou Brady, but I think some of the throwing stats are better to start off, and that 97 speed. Eric Romero has a bigger arm and maybe a little bit more of a true quarterback here with that field general. I think George Zavala offers kind of the best of both worlds. Has good arm, really good accuracy, throw on the run, break sack and stuff. Still certainly fast enough to make stuff happen with his legs, but maybe not the elite athlete that you see with guys like Cushenberry and Lou Brady. And then this guy's probably my least favorite of the 3, but he's actually somebody that already had base interest in us, so we're going to keep him on the board. I think he's just kind of a worse version of Romero, where he's more of a pocket quarterback, just doesn't have quite as big of an arm. If you can't run, I'd like you to have a howitzer, and he just doesn't have that. We have Kevin LeCount here at running back, a 94 speed running back with 85 juke moves as well. 84 carrying is pretty solid as well. Already has us in his top schools. Somebody that we're going to have to get on his radar is Sean Bakhtiari, but I really like this power back with 93 speed, 88 trucking, 88 stiff arm, 87 break tackle. I really want to add this guy onto the squad. I really like the abilities that come with power backs. I would like to add a power back to our program here. We have a tight end that we have on the board. Couldn't add any more tight ends just because he really cares about playing time when we're barely meeting his deal breaker there. Wanted to go after multiple, but just couldn't do it. But I like what I'm seeing from Sila Tolu anyway. He has 87 speed, 84 catching, 74 short route to start, 84 spec catch. I think this could be a really talented tight end. That's a position that we didn't really recruit last season. We got a tackle. One that I really like here is Angel Iverson with that 93 strength, 71 speed, 79 acceleration, has both pass and run block in those mid 70s at 75. I think this could be a stud tackle, and I want him badly. We have Coons here, another tackle that I think is very good, has that 92 strength, has pass block and run block at 77 apiece. And then DeAndre Buggs here, not super strong, only 81 strength. That's just kind of, I feel like these pass protectors' strengths are too low oftentimes. You see them in the 70s, which is just too low. 81's kind of borderline, but he's definitely my 3rd favorite. These two I think are both awesome tackle prospects. We do have one guard here in Nick Sobieski. Really strong player. The pass blocking is maybe a little bit low with him, so I would prioritize both of the tackles over this guy. Then we have a center who already has some interest in us, so I put him on the board, but again, a pass protector with pretty low strength. But since he's already interested in us, I think we can go after him a bit. Switching now to the defensive side, this is the highest ranked player on our entire board, Sidney Ali here, 51st player in the nation. Really good strength, block shed tackle. Not super fast by any means, but I think we don't really know what his pass rushing is, but if you can hope that one of his power moves or finesse moves is in a good spot, then he could be a good kind of 3-down player for us. Not going after any defensive tackles. Linebackers, we are going after quite a few here though. Franklin Benshaw already has us as his 3rd preferred place here. 87 speed, 75 zone coverage with 77 tackles, pretty dang good. Terrence Chocolatey, which is quite the name, 88 speed and acceleration, 77 zone coverage here, 78 tackle. I like these middle linebackers just a bit more. Their zone coverage might not be quite as good, but they're much better in other areas like the tackle department and such. They're also a little bit faster. 89 speed and acceleration for Emmett Sharp, 90 speed and 91 acceleration for Aguanaya, and 87 tackle and 84 tackle are just much better than the outside linebackers. But I like these middle just a bit more than the outside, but fact that Ben Shaw already has us high on his list, I think makes him a priority. And then the last position we have, anybody, is we did try to scout some corners. Stayed away from the safeties. I feel like our safety position's pretty good right now. But Devin Malik here, 92 speed with 93 acceleration. Really good zone coverage. Man coverage, not in a terrible spot either at 71. That's fine for a freshman. Got 93 speed and 90 acceleration for Brendan Worthy, who has 81 man coverage. You don't get to see what the zone coverage is on these man-to-man corners. For zone, you get to see both, but man, you don't get to see what their zone is, which is unfortunate. But he can really press, and he has good catching as well. So does Ramon Hentges. That's how I'm gonna guess that that's pronounced. Just a little bit worse than Worthy, I think, but still a very good cornerback prospect. That's what we have. That's a total of 20 players that we have on our board right now. Can only go after 10 once the season starts, so I'll have to prioritize which 10 those are. But I'm excited to see who we can recruit from this crop of 4 stars that we have identified. And with a bye week in week 0, it's officially time to choose the 10 players that we're going to go after. I think George Zavala is my favorite quarterback here. Doesn't have the electrifying speed by any means, but I think he combines just having good awareness, which is important in a CPU versus CPU franchise, maybe more important than when you're actually going to be using the team. Good accuracies, good enough arm. I think it's just the most well-rounded player at the quarterback spot, so he's going to be somebody that I go after. Kind of want to go after 2 quarterbacks just in case here, and as much as Rawlings actually wants to play for our team, I don't know if it's going to be him. So the question, do we go for the athlete, which we got in Lou Brady last season, but that was a 3-star athlete. Camille Cushenberry's a 4-star athlete, or do we go for the gem pocket passer? Pretty tough here, but I think because he is a gem, I'm actually going to go for Romero. Also, just we have the athlete in Lou Brady. This will give us a bunch of different options. I'm not saying we're going to get both of these players, but if we do, that gives us different styles of quarterback to try to build around. I do want to go after both of these running backs. I'm probably going to want to go after more than 10 players and then have to take our interest off of some people as we go along. Sila Tolu is the only tight end we've identified so far, so definitely want to go after him. Want to go after both of these tackles. These are probably the only 2 offensive linemen I'm going to go after early. We might lose out on the other ones. It is what it is. He's the highest rated player on our board, so want to go after him. And we only have 2 left. I think we might have to just go after 1 quarterback, because we really need linebacker. If you go to our team needs, I think this game thinks we need more linebackers than we actually do, but we need a ton of linebacking help. So we have to go after multiple linebackers, but I also don't want to not go after any of these corners either. I think I want to go after both of these middle linebackers. Start. And then we have to find somebody that on the offensive side of the ball that we're not actually going to go after, and I think it's going to be one of these quarterbacks. I really like both of them. I don't want to knock. I want both of these running backs. I really want Bakhtiari. He has 2 offers. LeCount has a bunch of offers. Anybody not getting any other offers other than us? Nobody. Everybody's getting at least an offer from another school. Maybe somebody like Romero, we can wait just because we're already 3rd place with him. He can get up to his top 8 without locking us out, maybe. He also has a playing style deal breaker, which that is a little bit hard to make sure that we keep up. So does Ogbanaya here. Something to keep in mind. Worthy and Hentges both do as well. Malik here is getting recruited by some very good schools though. Where are these out in Washington? He's one of the gems. Don't know if we can really compete with those teams out west for him though. I feel like Henkes is probably our best chance at actually getting him, but he has that play style that makes it difficult. I think we're gonna try to go after Malik here of these corners. But who do we take it off? I don't want to take it off of Romero, but we got a good quarterback last year, and I like Zavala the best of the quarterbacks, so we're going to put 50 points here in Devin Malik, and that's going to be the 10 players that we go after. This was really hard to narrow it down. I feel like now that we had all the expedited scouting unlocked this year compared to last year, that it made it much more difficult to narrow down. I felt like I could only scout like 12 players last year. This year I was able to scout more than 20. So narrowing that down from 20 plus to 10 was very difficult. But hopefully we made the right decisions. And I'm assuming that at least with a few of these 10 players that we've decided, we'll just recognize that they're losing battles by next week, and we could start to rearrange our priorities to some of the other guys that we've identified so far. But here you have it, the 10 players we are going after to start season 2. And here is our first recruiting update. A lot of recruiting to start the episode, but I don't think anybody minds that. George Zavala. So that's up our number 1, but we made up a ton of ground. I think we'll be number 1 by next week with him. Kevin LeCount has us as number 1 already. Bakhtiari is getting heavily recruited by Georgia. I really want him. I'm going to stick 1 more week with him, I think. And if Georgia's still absolutely smoking us, we'll stop. Sony Silatolu, we made by far the most progress here. North Carolina really wants Angel Iverson, but so do I. I feel like our bar filled up a little bit more than North Carolina. I think we can make up some of that gap. Maybe we won't be first place by next week, but I think we can jump up to second at least. Lewis Coons here. We made the most progress by far, although Tulsa is putting in a decent effort on him. Sidney Ali here is getting heavily recruited by Auburn. He's the best player on our board and is pretty close. This might end up being a Peter Awasika situation, but I'm going to try to get him in on a visit as soon as he gets to the top 5, and maybe that makes the difference here. Mohamed Ogbanaya has us as number 1. You love to see that, as does Emmett Sharp, so both of the linebackers have us on the top. Malik here is getting heavily recruited by a bunch of these programs. I think this is the one that we're going to go ahead and say it's too much for us to compete with. I just think, you know, if there's one school going after him that's doing a good job, sometimes you can edge them out, but all of these schools putting in major efforts on Malik is just too much. So who do we replace him with? The natural thing to do would be to replace him with one of the corners. Unfortunately, we're already locked out for Worthy, who I think was either the best or second best corner. He was just from Washington. We do have Oklahoma going hard after Ramon Henkes here, but I think we're going to try to go hard after him as well. Add him onto the board, and hopefully we can start getting to these guys into the top 5 soon, so we can start hard selling. That will allow us to take 10 points off of them, start scheduling some visits as well. But only giving up on 1 player after the first week is pretty good. You can argue that we should give up on Bakhtiari. You could argue we should maybe give up on Ali here. Maybe even just not even start with Henkes, but I think for the most part, we have a good shot at everybody that we have on our board. Certainly not going to get all of them, but I feel confident enough to at least compete with the 9 players that we had, and then adding in Ramon Henkes here. First game of the year would be a win against Bowling Green. Thought about playing this one, but we have a much better matchup in our second game that I want to play here today. 35-21 is the score. Heading over to player stats, we got 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. No picks from Nate Johnson. 12 for 74 and a touchdown for Alexander. Isaiah Bond in his first game in Vanderbilt, 12 for 130 and a touchdown. Junior Sherrill, 6 for 71 and 2 touchdowns. Only 1 sack allowed here by the center. Sacks wise, we got to the quarterback a lot here. 5 sacks on the day. No picks, unfortunately, and no forced fumbles. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. Let's see TFL wise. No TFLs either, but a really good way to start the year. And as you can see, we've got on the road Virginia Tech rematch from our opening day bout last season. That's the game I want to get into today. Ahead of that Virginia Tech game, we do get our first player to reach his top 5, and that is Henkes here, who Oklahoma's recruiting has gotten him to that point. Our progression bar is pretty close to theirs, though. We are going for the hard sell here. We know he has proximity to home. We also know he has playing style due to his deal breaker. So then it's just, is it conference procedure playing time? I'm just risking that it's playing time. So that extra 10 hours we're putting into Bakhtiari. I really want to hopefully overpass Georgia here for him. He's just a sick looking running back, and I don't want to lose out on him. So don't know if this is just me wasting hours on a losing battle, but I'm not quite ready to give up yet. Nobody else yet has reached their top 5 except for Malik, who we're still technically not locked out yet, but we should honestly just put him off the board at this point. Honestly, could probably take Chocolatey off the board. He's probably reaching his top 8 next week. Rawlings, he will reach his top 8 as well, but we're still second. I think that's probably the only guy we got to take off our board for now. We're still first on Peppers despite not having any time into him. So that's good news for us. He really wants to come to Vanderbilt. Middle Tennessee will probably overtake us soon, though, if we don't start putting points into him. I assume starting next week, we'll start to get some hours freed up if, you know, Auburn still has a sizable lead on Ollie here, or if Georgia still has a sizable lead on Bakhtiari. Also, people reaching their top 5s will allow us to free up 10 hours at a time. But there you have it. That's all of our recruiting here. Let's now hop into our first Season 2 game action. I'm ready to get Season 2 underway on the road. This might be a very different game than we had last season opener against Virginia Tech. This place is absolutely rocking. It is packed for Virginia Tech. Currently ranked top 10, which is surprising to me. Also debuting today will be our brand new playbook. I'm not going to say it's a finished piece by any means, but I put a lot of work in the off season to get ourselves a playbook that I think will work really well with our brand new transfer portal playmakers. Let's see what this offense can do. This stadium pulse is maxed out. You'll also notice that the quarter length is very different. I've decided to go with full 15-minute quarters. This was requested way back early, I think in like episode 2 or 3 of this series. At the time, I wasn't ready to make that change, but I think with the accelerated clock at 12 seconds, I did a little bit of testing, and I like 15 minutes with that accelerated clock. What a catch by the true freshman, Raphael Hakeem, on 3rd and 10. Was looking like we might be off the field quickly, but a nice snag on the sideline, and already our freshman class is making an impact. Hakeem with the ball here again, just didn't have much time to get any momentum there, but 2 straight catches for the true freshman. He's not going to be maybe a focal point of the offense this year, but he's certainly going to have a role as a true freshman year. That one incomplete into the flat for junior Sherrill. And we've got another 3rd down situation. Empty backfield, just Johnson. He's trying to scramble and somehow gets away from the pressure. It looked like an easy sack, but we are now in Virginia Tech territory. Don't love that we're getting into these 3rd and long situations. A run of just 1 there. Would love to stay ahead of the chains. I haven't done a lot of testing, and by a lot I have done like one game of my custom playbook. So I don't know just how good it is yet. This season will kind of be the test run for it. So far, a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 9, and a 3rd and 8 so far. Maybe have to tweak our 1st and 2nd down play calls. Would love not to be in 3rd and long every time, but our 3rd down playbook is looking like it's pretty good as we keep on converting here. Trying to establish the run, but 2 for -1 so far early on for Mikaelin Young, looking to expand his role from last season. Johnson, 2nd and 11, finds Jeremiah Smith, the true sophomore transfer from Ohio State. Makes it 1st and goal from the 8. The give to Alexander, and still not much luck establishing the run here against Virginia Tech. 2nd and goal. Sherrill in motion. He gets the jet touch pass, has nice blocks from Young and Stowers, and falls into the end zone for the opening drive touchdown for Vanderbilt. First drive with the new playbook results in 6. It wasn't pretty all the way down the field, but hard not to like what we see here through the first drive. Now Virginia Tech has a chance to respond. A big hole on their first play of the game. 3rd and 7 after that. From the pistol. Time to throw, and finds a man in the slot. He evades a tackler and is all the way down inside the 30-yard line. Virginia Tech is driving. Over the middle, fumble, and Vanderbilt is on top of it. A turnover. Puts the possession back in our hands. Virginia Tech have themselves a solid drive going. We're in scoring range, but it's another transfer making a play. True sophomore Ellis Robinson IV forcing a fumble and keeping Virginia Tech off the board. Bunch formation here on the left for the Commodores. Johnson has time, has a man in Isaiah Bond, just missed him. Now, I had some sliders suggested to me, and I did some testing in the offseason. Ended up not feeling like they performed significantly better than the base sliders. So these are the base sliders. The only change I've made is the clock. We didn't see a lot of inaccurate passes there. We saw one there, although he was able to hook up with Isaiah Bond on 3rd down on a very similar route. For the most part, the offense continues to hum, especially this passing game. I just don't know if our offensive line is quite ready to be a strong run blocking unit yet. And what a throw! Back of the end zone, and what a catch as well by Jeremiah Smith, diving. Hauls it in, and that makes it 14-0 Vanderbilt. I gotta see that one again. Right on the money, a little bit out in front of him in the back of the end zone, but Smith hauls it in. What a touchdown there. So Virginia Tech finds themselves down 14-0 early in this one. First quarter winding down. Virginia Tech trying to keep the momentum going they had before the turnover last drive. And as we head into the second quarter, they're getting in scoring range. From the 36-yard line. Three tight ends on the field for Virginia Tech. And they throw to one of them here. He breaks a tackle down inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 14. Virginia Tech is driving again. This was a game last season where both offenses put up a lot of production. Might be seeing that happening again. This defense should be improved over last year. We got a couple of clutch transfers as well as just some internal developments, but So far, Virginia Tech having some success moving the ball, but it's now 3rd and 1. Back to pass into the flats. It's broken up. No, it's not. It is hauled in, but it will be short of the sticks. So it's 4th and inches, and Virginia Tech decides to settle for 3 here. Get themselves on the board here in this game, but this Vanderbilt passing attack has been very good. Johnson has it all day to throw, just couldn't find anything he liked there, so he throws it out of bounds. 2nd and 10 now. Johnson has a man this time. Isaiah Bond hauls it in for first down yardage. Back to pass on first once more. Has a man on the drag. Jeremiah Smith catch and run. Up near midfield just like that. 2 tight ends in for Vanderbilt. Johnson throws into the flats for Eric Stowers, something that was a big-time part of our playbook last year. Didn't want to remove it completely from this custom playbook, but it's not going to be something we go to as often here. Trying to pick up the first down on the ground, and we barely get it done. Wish we were seeing a little bit more success from the run game, but this just might be from playing what is currently ranked as a top 10 team, although this offense is making them not look too much like it, if I'm being honest. Inside the 25, Johnson gets instantly pressured. A nice block there by Young, but then Johnson rolled right into the sack. He would have just stayed in the pocket, maybe thrown it away or thrown to a check down. I think he had time. But you can't always trust that your running back's going to pick up a block like that. He did this time. But either way, it's 2nd and 17. Johnson getting instantly pressured again from the same guy, rolling left and throwing to Sherrill for the touchdown. Oh my goodness, what a throw. Now, I do have base sliders on, but one of the sliders that I think could be tweaked is quarterback accuracy. I'm not sure that's a throw that a quarterback the caliber of Nate Johnson should be able to make, but hey, I'll take it. Nice spin move by Sherrill as well to avoid the tackle and get into the end zone. Vanderbilt's offense, explosive here to start this day. And a nice run stop there. Our interior defensive line brings up 2nd and 10. Midway through the second quarter now. Into the flats. Couple of nice blocks, but 3rd and 8. Nice rally to the ball there. Can we get him off the field on 3rd and long? Plenty of time in the pocket, but he's forced to throw short of the sticks. Incomplete. And it's a 3 and out. Johnson has Stowers over the middle. He is to the 10, to the 5, and gone. A house call immediately after the 3 and outs. This new offense is explosive. 28 first half points. Johnson's throwing downfield. We're getting guys open. A nice route there by Stowers, and that's just a beautiful job on that play. It's nice to have a tight end who can take a catch like that and take it all the way to the crib. There's not a ton of tight ends in the nation that are going to do that. Stowers is one of them. Virginia Tech fans have to be shocked here. We upset Virginia Tech last season. Virginia Tech ended up having a very good season. Opened this one in the top 10. But they're down 28-3 already in this half. The Hokies need something out of this drive desperately. We'll convert this 3rd and inches here. Maybe trying to run the clock out a bit. Maybe make this the last drive of the half. Vanderbilt's proven to be able to score in a hurry here, so you have to run the time down. We're now past the 2-minute warning. Over the middle, and that is caught. Took a big hit for the reception. 3rd and 2 now from the 12. Over the middle, it is incomplete. But unlike last time, Virginia Tech will leave their offense out on the field. They know how important it is to get a touchdown on this drive, and they get the conversion on 4th down. From the 3, making it the 2.5. 1st and goal, and it's in for a touchdown, Virginia Tech. They do get their first touchdown drive here of the game in the final 30 seconds here of the half. We'll also get the ball to start the second, so have a chance to really get back in this game if they can score another touchdown drive there. Jeremiah Smith, you got to think he's happy with the transfer so far, and I'm really happy with what we saw from the playbook. After the first drive, I was wondering if we might need to do some slight adjustments, but I mean, you can't be upset about 28 first half points against a good Virginia Tech team. I do think their offense is a little bit better than their defense. What a play there by Height. Maybe could have picked that one off, but instead is 3rd and inches for Virginia Tech. They do not need much yardage at all. They're not going to get much, but it will still be enough. 3rd and 2. Plenty of time to go deep downfield. Randon Fontenette breaking it up. So the defense gets the stop to start the half. Touchdown drive from the offense would be a big time momentum builder here. Tyler Johnson clutching the hip after that hits. 3rd and 14. Not looking great for that touchdown drive here, but a nice throw on the left sideline will be for the first down. 3rd and 1 after that, and we're going to Junior Sherrill in the flats, and he's got it into Virginia Tech territory. Thought Virginia Tech might get that stop that they desperately needed, but instead, Vanderbilt is on the move. Jeremiah Smith coming in motion. Isaiah Bond saw him beat the press off the release instantly. He gets the ball, and it's his first Vanderbilt touchdown of the season. The 5th Vanderbilt touchdown of this game. Tyler Johnson is out there putting on a clinic. Showing off this playbook quite nicely here, and I think the upgraded playmakers are showing up in a big way. 35-10, a big play down the left sideline there for Virginia Tech. They can't get a touchdown drive here. We might be able to call this one a ball game. They really need to get on the board. Underneath, that's a big time catch and run. Gets him to the 30. Third and 1. Virginia Tech driving again here, and now inside the 10. Technically, they'll call it the 10, but it's more like the 9.5. Maybe 9 3/4. Platform 9 3/4. Into the flats, we've got a short gain here of 5. About half of what they needed. Now Virginia Tech bringing out the Wildcats on 2nd and goal. Back in motion. They toss it to him. Cutting upfield and wrapped up at the 1 by Patterson. 3rd and goal at the 1. Vanderbilt's red zone defense. Been a strong point so far in this series, but another rushing touchdown there. That one was easy. From 1 yard out. Virginia Tech not ready to say goodbye to this game yet. 35-17 now.
But if this offense can come out and score another touchdown here heading into the fourth, I think we'll be able to call this one a game. 2nd and 1. Tyler Johnson throws into traffic and is picked off. Well, you knew it was going to happen eventually for Tyler. Or for Nate Johnson. I don't know why I'm calling him Tyler Johnson. Is there a Tyler Johnson that I'm thinking of right now? I don't know. It's Nate Johnson, obviously. You're not going to get a lot of games out of Nate Johnson where he doesn't at least turn the ball over once. He's been pretty much perfect all game long. But it comes here late in the third, giving Virginia Tech some momentum in this game. 3rd and 1. And Height coming on the slot corner blitz. Virginia Tech did not see him coming. And so ending off the third quarter here, we're going to be able to force Virginia Tech into a field goal attempt. Martell Height. Excellent play. Just did not give him enough time to get that pass off. So as we end the third, it'll be 35-20. Nate Johnson already 371 passing yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. Can we get one more touchdown drive? 1st and 10. They give to Jeremiah Smith, and he's sifting through blockers. Love that wide receiver mid-screen here. Now going for the RPO read into the flat to Stowers for a 1st down conversion. 2 tight ends in the game for Vandy on 1st and 10. Faking the delayed give. Johnson's going to take off. He's got near the 1st down. Started the slide just a half step too early, or could have had the conversion. Instead, is 2nd and inches. From under center, Johnson going to pick up the rest and a whole lot more past the 30-yard line. Using his legs to get the team into field goal range. Now standing alone in the backfield. He's getting pursued, running backwards, and turning it into a very big sack. That's been the one thing stopping our offense, is he's slow to get up again. The negative plays, the sacks, and the interception. Really the only things stopping us. I don't think we've punted today. Johnson on 2nd and 24. Makes it 3rd and manageable. Very nice play there. Much better than the run we normally see. Johnson tried to hit Stowers. A nice blitz pick up there by Height, but we will be forced into a field goal attempt here. This will push it to a 3-score game if it is up and in, and it is. Which I think puts us in a really good position to win this game. But let's see one more Virginia Tech drive. Can they continue to put touchdowns on the board? Not when they're turning it over. It's the 2nd fumble forced by the defense. This one instantly puts us back in scoring range, Virginia Tech fans. Can't believe it. Langston Patterson, big-time playmaker last year, forces the fumble this time, and on 3rd and 3, Nate Johnson finds Jeremiah Smith for his 2nd touchdown of the game. That's pretty much gonna put the seal on this game. Vanderbilt's offense came out and put on an absolute show to kick off Season 2. I'm loving what I saw from this playbook. Again, would like a little bit more success on the ground, maybe a little bit more attempts as well, but not much in the way of complaints here. 6 touchdowns, maybe a little high scoring here, but if you look at the snap count, it was 133, which is right where you want it to be. At the end of the day, I care more about how many plays are being run than the final score, and the plays being run is consistent with what you want to see. So the offense is going to have explosive games like this, then we're going to see some high scoring games. But a great win at Virginia Tech. Due to a couple early season bye weeks, we are moving along, spending a lot of time in the recruiting in this episode. Most of our players here that we are going after are already in the top 5. Everybody but Lewis Coons has already reached their top 5. Unfortunately, though, we're moving far enough along into the season that we have fallen below the deal breakers thresholds for 2 of the players that we have been heavily going after. Oklahoma might just win Henkes anyway, unless they also drop to below his deal breaker. That would be ideal. But we had to take the hours out of 2 players here. One that we had the lead on him that we just can't put anymore. You could technically continue to do whatever it is you were doing. You just won't get as much influence on them anymore. Decided to take those 40 hours off of both of them because I wanted to put together some visits here in this week for a week 5 matchup that we'll have next episode. One of those players is Sean Bakhtiari. I think, we took over Georgia here, but if they decide to get back in the race on him, I think they can get some really big ground on us. So want to try to wrap this up before Georgia decides to change their minds and start putting more influence into him. We have a complimentary visit with Angel Iverson on the same week. Clemson has entered the chat here, and I think if they continue to dump points into him, they could overtake us. So I want to wrap this one up quickly. Auburn is right behind us and gaining a ton of influence per week. So I want to wrap this one up before Auburn can overtake us again. And then I brought Emmett Sharp in for a visit. Yes, he's only getting 15 hours this week. That's just kind of the nature of it. We're also the only team putting a ton into him at the moment, so I think it will be okay. I added him to the week 5 visit pool just to get that complimentary boost with Ali, which I think we will need if we ultimately want to beat out Auburn, because they're gaining pretty much just as much influence as us, and they have that much bigger hype. So here's what we're doing ahead of our 3rd game of the season. Still unable to put any points into these guys yet. We haven't been locked out of any of them. I think we'll get locked out soon here by Benchum. Maybe by Romero as well, as he's got a school that's now going pretty hard after him. But these other ones I think will be able to stay in. Maybe 1 more week, maybe 2, before we have to start putting points into them as well. But there you have it. That is the recruiting ahead of our game against Georgia State.